program, please do direct them at Chloe, and if I can answer, I will definitely answer them for you. Okay, so what we are here today to do is building more corporate entrepreneurs, because that's something that is needed in the industry today for more thinking and doing organization. Now, this talk, as I mentioned, will be from 4 o'clock to from 3 o'clock to 4:30. Okay, so just let me go through some administrative details very quickly, right? Such as getting you, for those of you who are new to this organization or new to my talks, right? Just to let you know a few things before we move forward. First and foremost, my background. Okay, what do I do, and what have I been doing? I'm a chartered accountant by training. Okay, so I'm the numbers guy, but I have not been really practicing for a very, very long time. So I left the accountancy profession more or less immediately after I joined MIA. The moment I joined MIA, there was I told myself I did not want to become an accountant anymore, right? It was not something I enjoyed, even though I was pretty good at it, but it was not something I enjoyed. And I think it was a good career move in the sense that I've since gone to many, many other things, right? Example, I've done stuff like ISO 9000, basically project manager, manage it all the way from making sure the processes are done up, writing up the processes, integrating the processes, some restructuring here and there, okay, all the way to getting the certification at the very end. I worked in, basically I have worked with, I was working with ATCEN for a while, okay, together with ATCEN for a while on a MSc status company, right? I have also set up, help other people set up 2 different MSc status companies and got their MSc status for them. So quite a diverse background actually. I have experience in the contact center industry, in the hotel industry, in the plantation industry, in the audit industry. Okay, I myself have set up quite a few businesses over the years, right? Set and also close, right? Lost money, also make money, right? So a lot of different things. In terms of businesses, I myself have set up restaurant business. Okay, I was in a restaurant business. I own a recruitment agency for a while. I also have looked into colleges. Okay, I've also done a production house previously. Okay, production house that one does movies. So that is some of the companies, and of course IT side itself. So that is some of the things I've done. But today, what do I do a lot of? Right, today I focus most of my energy on training and consulting work. Okay, and what I do today is I help a lot of organizations in terms of their management development program and the customer experience, and also I do a lot of personal coaching and management. So like this morning, I spend most of the morning getting ready a group of 10 people from an organization that's working with me, right, on their executive coaching. Okay, and these people I'll be hand-holding them for the next 90 days. Now, if you want to know anything more about me, my articles, my videos, and things like that, I've given you the link. That's my email, that's my Facebook, that's my LinkedIn. Okay, my LinkedIn will probably have most of the articles I've written. My Facebook, for my Facebook, you can probably go to my videos and stuff like that. Right, most of my videos are on ATCEN site, so that's what I do. Okay, that's what I do. A few quick things about ATCEN before we begin, right? So ATCEN, we have been around since 2003. I founded the company in 2003 with a few other people. We are a registered training provider. We're a registered training provider, HRDF certified. We at a few years ago, we were listed as a 5-star training provider. We already got our audit done and things like that. We are also working very closely with WKU. WKU is a state university in the US. Okay, if you want to check them out, it's www.wku.edu. Okay, right, www.edu. So I'm just going to type it in. Why this is very critical is because they are the ones who are sort of sponsoring this to happen. Okay, sponsoring this to happen. So you can check out WKU, Western Kentucky University. It's a state university. It's been around for about 100 and give and take 120 years now, right? We are also part of the Contact Center Association of Malaysia. We are also part of SME Association Malaysia. When we say part of, we are the learning partners. Right? Of course, we are members. We are also learning partners with them. One of our key people that we work with a lot is Envo BPO, and we are also the distributor for Really English. So that's why when you came in just now, you saw the introduction on Really English. Okay, Really English is an online program that we run. right? Online program that we run, and it's something that we do a lot of, okay, in terms of English online, and it can be blended learning as well. It can be blended learning as well. So there's some of the things that we do with our clients. Now, other things, okay, just to give you an idea, a lot of people actually ask us, what in the world is this thing called ATCEN? You know, how do you get this name called ATCEN? It sounds very unique and unusual. What does it mean? Well, it's actually an acronym, right? ATCEN is actually an acronym. It basically tells you exactly what we do. When we first started the organization in 2003, we were already very clear what we wanted to do with this organization. So it's a training, capacity building, events, network company. So that's basically what we do, right? So all the products that we do are listed down there, right? We do leadership training, we do sales trainings, we do English communication, and also some technical stuff. We do a lot of capacity building. Capacity building, I would say a nice word for consultancy. We do a lot of consultancy in the area of customer experience, right? That is one area of focus. Even during this pandemic, a lot of our clients are still working with us on their customer experience initiative, whatever it may be. Right? Some people have asked me, what have we done in this particular area? Okay, it's fine. A quick thing, we have been working with KWSP over the last 10, 12 years. So if you see what KWSP has been doing, right, in terms of their service level, like this is one of the initiatives that we have worked with them for a very long time. We were there when Maybank first set up their contact center. This was all the way back in the early 2000s, the early 2000s. This is what has become Bukit Jelutong today, and that's where the Maybank contact center is, right? We've helped quite a few other banks in terms of their customer experience over the years, right? A lot of also logistic companies, and our last major work done was also a bank related. This was for Hong Leong Bank when they did the rebranding. Okay, rebranding. We were not the ones who came up with the logos and things, but we were definitely the people who worked on a lot of other stuff, because the people who worked with them on the rebranding was about 6 months. We were there for nearly close to 2.5 years. Other things that we have done is a lot of events, right? A lot of conferences and things. We have not done any physical conferences over the OMCO, something that we will see whether we want to do when we come back. But prior to that, okay, we've got lots of experience doing conferences, right? So anywhere between the 200 all the way to about close to 800 people. Also, we do business knowledge exchange program. Okay, this is something unique. I will share a little bit about what we do down there later on, related to some of our clients that we have done. Right. So this is some of the things that we do in terms of our so-called services that we offer to our clients. Now, as I mentioned earlier, right, WKU, Western Kentucky University, what is this? How is this program related to Western Kentucky University? Well, basically, when we've been working with Western Kentucky University for many, many years now. And one of the key things they wanted us to do was, when we launched this program, was to, sort of promote this program a little bit. And key thing was that we actually came up with this particular short series of 5 sessions that I'll be doing, okay? Because we are launching our Certified Business Masterclass, right? Certified Business Masterclass together with the university. We are also launching our Certified Performance Management Program, right? Together with the university. So these are certified programs that we are running together with the university. And what happens is, if you go through the program, you do the necessary work, you will get a certificate of completion from them. Okay, and all these are HRDF claimable. So some of these things that you see, some of these materials that you see, I mean, I would say not some, most of the materials, or nearly all the materials you see, is from this 2 particular certified programs down here. Okay, so today I'm actually going to be taking something from the business masterclass, and it's also partially in the performance management program as well. Why I say that is because a lot of companies are looking into this particular area. Okay, a lot of companies are looking to this particular area. Now, other things. Okay, just a quick one. Other programs that I run a lot. These are my programs that I run a lot. Critical skills, executive to manager, supervisory skills, personal effectiveness at work. So if you notice, I've got a certain way of structuring the information, structuring the program. The lower part of the program, these are those at the lower side. the competency level doesn't need to be so high. As you go up, the competency level becomes higher and higher, and the proficiency in that particular area needs to be better. So speak up is basically one, I would say, in terms of communication, that's probably the most highest level that I do, right, in the communication side. This is whereby we talk about dealing with very difficult people, very, very difficult people, or in very, very difficult situations. Okay, so this is exactly what we do down here, right? So you want to find out more information, when is the next session happening, things like that, please let us know, right? We are usually scheduling quite a fair number of these programs in our public workshop. Again, my partner in crime, Ken, who is the other shareholder of this particular organization, okay, what happens down there is he does a lot of customer experience and also contact center related programs. Everything from managers, anything from frontliners all the way to managers, okay, all the way to managers. So that is what he does down there. Now, without much further ado, okay, right, what I'm going to talk about today is today's topic, right? So today's topic is on sorry, not customer experience, right? Corporate entrepreneurship. Okay, it's on corporate entrepreneurship, right? And anyone, have you heard of Peter Drucker before? Peter Drucker, if you heard of him, just say yes, or you put a thumbs up so that I can see all of you. Put a thumbs up, right? If you just say yes or thumbs up. Have you heard of Peter Drucker before? Yes, okay, good. I see a few hands coming up. Yep, right. Christopher C. Only Christopher. Wow. Come on. Right. Hope more people have heard of Peter Drucker. He is a very, very famous individual. Okay. Now, no? Now, fortunately or unfortunately, to me, it's rather unfortunate. I mean, we should see Peter Drucker's work more in the management development area. Okay. For some reason or rather, a lot of authors, a lot of management book that we study in university don't mention him as much as he should. For a person who's been writing management books for the last 50 years, he started in the 60s, he died a few years ago in the mid 2000s. Okay, a lot more books should have been published, or a lot more information should have been written on him. After all, he himself has example, the knowledge worker. All of you heard of the word knowledge worker? Knowledge worker, knowledge worker. If you heard, just thumbs up. Yep, Michael says yeah. Michael, I think you're saying yes previously, right? In case you have heard of the word knowledge worker, right? A lot of our fourth and our sixth prime minister, no, fourth and seventh prime minister, Mahathir like to use the word knowledge worker. When he launched the whole entire MSc status, he used the word knowledge worker. The knowledge worker actually came from Peter Drucker. It was his terminology, right? Because he also wrote a book called The Knowledge Society, right? So this is all his work, and he says. Okay, and he says in this particular quote, a new business creation must be considered the most important task of a senior executive in existing enterprise, especially the large one. Without it, the enterprise is unlikely to survive, let alone do well in a period of rapid transition such as the one that we live in now, and we are likely to live in the foreseeable future. So this is what he wrote, and this quote is quite old actually. This quote is about, I would say, about 20 years old, right? And we have seen businesses over the last, okay, let's put it this way, even the last 2 years, you have seen the businesses transforming quite rapidly and quickly. And if you were in last week's session, I talked about how some in whole industries are actually digitalization a lot faster, because the change of transformation on that is so fast. Anything to do with media is changing rapidly. Anything to do with retail is changing rapidly, right? Some people are even asking, now that we have gone through this COVID and 1.5 years of doing what we are doing, ordering food online, are supermarkets going to be filled? Are people going back to the retail outlets? Will you actually just go to a store to buy something, or you order it online? After all, it's so much more convenient, right? So if we go out, what do we go out for? So a lot of businesses are changing very rapidly. And if you went for the one before that, right? I was also talking a lot about the how IR, Industrial Revolution 4.0, is literally changing the whole business landscape, right? The whole business landscape, right? Now, so everyone, if you don't mind, let's do some quick little activity, right? Since none of you have got your camera on, okay, for some reason, right? Don't be shy. If you want to put your camera on, put your camera on. Why don't you just type in what are some of the changes you have seen over the last, few months, right? Don't mind. Go to the chat, right? Let your finger do some typing. Type, right? What are some of the changes you have seen over the last 2 months? Let's go. Last few months, what are the changes you have seen, right? So type. Changes that you have seen over the last few months. Yep, rely on. Right. Hanli, yeah. I got nothing to say about that one. That one is like, I don't know. And by the way, the police said they'll be using it to check. Big Brother is here. Big Brother is here. Whenever I see this kind of stuff, it always reminds me of Animal Farm. Big Brother is here. Okay, right? Digital business. Let's put it this way, Michael. Every single business needs to go digital sooner or later in some form or other. Right? Online classes, online meetings. What else? Right? Hot contingency planning, Christopher. Yes, of course. Right. If you caught us sometime last year, one of the key topics we talked on was contingency planning, right? With all this stuff happening, a lot more contingency planning is happening, and trust me, it's a good industry to go into. It's a good industry to go into. As we become more and more complicated, a lot more contingency is going to be happening. Right. People doing online ordering more and more, working from home. People selling more online, Richard. Okay. Right. A lot of people going to the e-commerce platform. Right. Not exactly that easy to do e-commerce. Right. Not that easy to do. Online meeting, online seminar. And I was just in a trainer group just now. I was just WhatsApping a few people, in the trainer group. What happened is that we are asking, what about the hybrid model, whereby some classes will need to be both virtual and face-to-face at the same time, right? Virtual and face-to-face at the same time. So business needs to reboot, definitely. Business needs to reboot, right? Business, I mean, like it or not, a lot of people who were no longer not digital previously need to go digital. This, in fact, what are you saying, Handy? Are you saying that there's a business opportunity in disinfection, and disinfection? Okay, right. Now, always remember this in strategic thinking, which is another one of the sessions I did, right? Strategic thinking. We always say that this is always a period. When the period is over, right, all these things will disappear. So don't go with whatever is happening in that period, and that period is coming to an end. Like it or not, this period is coming to an end. That means whatever I'm saying, COVID situation is coming to an end, right? It will be what we call endemic. After a while, all of us will say, oh, we live with it. Now, it's not going to go away. The COVID will become like a flu that happens, right? We will still have people getting infected here and there, right? But it is not something that is going to be on a long-term basis, okay? You'll probably be away probably in the next 2 to 3 years. Okay. Now, business transformation for sustainability, definitely. Okay. A lot of businesses need to transform, right? Even if you saw what I presented last week, if you do not know where to get it, go and look at the video. Okay, it's already on ATCEN's YouTube, right? Chloe is the best person to be doing that. She knows exactly where it is. But what we said in one of the slides I show, we talked about how even the construction company, the oil and gas company, are one of the slowest to change. Okay, because like it or not, even with all the solar, all the electric power and things like that, right? It's good. Solar is good, but if you talk about electric, it does have its drawbacks, because for those of you who understand how electricity batteries are done, right? If you really look into it, it's not exactly that efficient. Solar, great. Wind power, great. However, we are still having issues trying to generate the kind of big energy that is needed. Okay, right? Although China is doing a lot of different things on there, right? If you have been to, I mean, my last trip to China was in 2018. Okay, and I know, and I always go, when I go to China, I always like to go different parts of China to have a look, and I was very surprised by how many big wind mills they have, turbines, windmills 中很多 they are Amsterdam. windmills they have out there in the mountain. It is crazy amount of windmills, right? And they also have this solar, a very big solar array that is literally reflecting light to a particular. I don't know what they call it, but I'm not an electrical person, but I understand conceptually how it works, and just generating electricity. You can catch it on YouTube. But okay, people are diversifying the business. Okay, definitely. Now, which is why we are talking about this thing called corporate entrepreneurship. Now, quick one for everybody. Quick one for everybody. Okay, as far as you are concerned, what is corporate entrepreneurship all about? Okay, just if you don't mind, just type it out. Just type it out, right? Let's do some sharing first before I share my slide, right? Let it be both ways, or else no, I don't like things when it's always one way. Yeah? So type. No, what is corporate entrepreneurship all about? And let's be clear here. Why do you think it's important? Why the need for it? Why the need for it? Now, is it the same as entrepreneurs? Is it not the same as entrepreneurs? Okay, right? So is corporate entrepreneurship the same? Not the same? All right. What is it all about? And why the need for corporate entrepreneurship? So if you can, just type it out. If you want to just scream out an answer, shout out an answer, please go ahead, shout an answer out. Okay, it'll be great. It'll be good. Come. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Type something out. Right. So what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Good. Right. Anything else? Come. What do we have? Anyone? What do you think is corporate entrepreneurship? Have you heard of this term before? Right? Anyone? You heard of the term before? If you heard of the term before, yes, I've heard of corporate entrepreneurship. Startup within a company. Good. Very good, Joseph. Startup within a company. And usually a company is quite large. Huh? Usually a company is quite large. Okay. What else? What else? An entrepreneur within a company, or with a question mark at the back. Okay. Right. Yep. Is it a mindset to think like an owner? Okay. X iPhone. please change your name. I don't like to call people X iPhone. It is, but the end result is what Hanley and also Joseph is saying. It's getting the startup within a company. Okay, and it's usually related to what Ling and also Michael is saying. It's usually related to new products, new businesses, whatever it may be within the company. Now, example. A very good example is this. I'm trying to remember the year, but I can't quite remember. Employee thinking like an entrepreneur would be the start. Employee thinking like an entrepreneur would it like a start, right? And Erwin straight off says, never heard of this. Haha, so malu. Nothing to be malu about. It's something new. Sometimes we use the word corporate entrepreneurship. The word I rather use is intrapreneurs. Intrapreneurs. What is intrapreneurs? These are literally employees of an organization that work in the organization, and they are literally okay, running their own businesses within the organization. Okay, again, they are employees who start up new projects in an organization, right? As Hanley mentioned, but I wouldn't say startup only. Literally, what they want to aim for is a entity, a new Sendirian Berhad within the organization itself, so that this Sendirian Berhad becomes part of the organization or becomes another entity separate from the organization, but they are relying on the organization's resources to help them grow. I hope you see where I'm coming from. Now, anyone, do you know of any companies here in Malaysia that's doing that? Right, someone on there put AirAsia Food. Okay, AirAsia Food is the if you're talking about what they're doing, AirAsia is doing in terms of their food delivery and things like that, right? It's actually a group initiative. It's actually a very much a group initiative. Whether it's seen as a corporate entrepreneurship, I'm not very sure, but I can check it out. I just need to call a few people. Right, Shopee Food. Right now, please see it as something a little bit different. Okay. I don't deny some of it could be. I don't deny some of this could be. Right. I don't know Shopee well enough, but I can give you a very good example that's happening in a firm. Okay. Example. everyone here knows, okay, I won't tell you the telco. I won't tell you the telco, but uh, this is something that happened quite a number of years ago. This was in some time, I would say 2007, 2007, okay? In 2007, what I was doing then was WKU related as well. I was WKU, the Western Kentucky University, right? In for a number of years up to 2007, they stopped in 2008, and we have not been able to get it alive again, right, because of some changes in their site. But what happened is that for a number of years prior to 2007, and 2007 was the year we went there, what happened was that WKU used to send a group of people to Malaysia. Okay, so a group of American MBA students, majority of them that come are always I would say part-timers. Part-timers meaning they are working adults, right, who happen to be completing their MBA. They would actually come down to Malaysia, and we would, ATCEN would actually work with them as in, we will become the tour guide. But of course, they are not here for a so-called, what do you call it, tourism visit. They are here more for an education visit, because it was actually the whole entire trip, they needed to write a report, and that was the whole MBA subject. Okay, so what we do is we would normally bring them, okay, on a day, the whole entire day, right? They'll be here for give and take about 10 days. We would actually take them to some of our clients, big and small, some of our clients big and small, so that they actually get to see how businesses work, in Malaysia, and also they get the whole Malaysian feel. And for one of the clients then, right, was a telco, and I bought them there, right? And before I went there, I told the person, what I wanted to do, and the person said, Jeremy, why don't I give you a surprise? I said, okay, what are you planning? He said, don't don't need to ask too much. This will be something very interesting. Okay, so I said, okay, fine. Okay, so I didn't ask much, okay, because I trusted this individual, what he or she, what he was preparing for us. So what happened was we just went. Okay, so we went to this telco, and in my mind, I was thinking, okay, they got to talk about telco, they got to talk about telco, they got to talk about telco in Malaysia, right? So I was actually telling all these MBA students that about usually slightly less than 20 of them, right? I would tell them, hey, we are actually preparing something on telco. This is a very good, innovative Malaysian telco. So let's go and have a look and see what they have. So all the fine, we went there, we got to see the whole entire place. And then after about, half an hour of walking around, they took us to this room and they sat us down. Okay, so we were all sitting down, and here was I thinking, okay, they're gonna talk about their business and things like that. Then they told us, hey, the person who organized the thing came up, told us the following, right? We are going to introduce to you, all of you, 3 businesses that have been set up within this organization. These people are our employees, okay, but they have total freedom to work on their projects. It's because they are owning part of this thing that's being done. And once we commercialize it, these individuals will be shareholders of this organization, and they will be working on this particular projects to get it to the next stage, to get to the next stage, to get to the next stage. So in 2007, I was presented with stuff like, imagine telco. Here I am for a telco. I'm thinking, okay, they got to talk about network, they got to talk about 4G, not 5G, 4G, they got to talk about this, they got to talk about that, right? And I was going through a session on how they are transferring money. And I went like, hello, you're a telco, why are you transferring money for what? I don't get it. Why are you transferring money? You get me? Right? Yeah, telco, what is this thing transferring money? I don't get it. So we went through a few things that day. So end of the day, I was very pleasantly, yes, fantastic, but it also got me very interested in how they were running this model, because I got into thinking like, yeah, corporate entrepreneurship, but I didn't know that they were running it. And I started asking one of the people who presented, and literally this individual, and I managed to catch hold of him for like 20 minutes. I sat down with him separately at other presentation was going on. I asked him exactly how does it work, and it was super true. He told me exactly this. He told me, hey, the company liked my idea. They asked me whether I wanted to work on it. I said yes. Now I have full financial resources, I have HR resources, I have this thing because the company is there to help me along with this project. Do I get paid? Yeah, I get paid my employee salary at this point of time. But we have already have some kind of agreement whereby we are going to sign when we can commercialize this thing. Once we commercialize this thing, right, I will be one of the key shareholders in this entity together with the organization. You get me? That is the ultimate aim of corporate entrepreneurship. Not only to get the people thinking like a corporate entrepreneur or like an entrepreneur. Hi everyone, can you hear me again? Ken? Okay, yes. Sorry about that. I accidentally pressed the button and I locked out. Okay, right. Right. Let me go back to where I was. Okay. Now, so why do you think this is like super critical? Anyone? Why do you think this is like super critical? It's very important to understand why a company needs individuals like this, why the company cannot just do it themselves, right? Why the company cannot just do it themselves. So some of you are saying for business improvement. Yep. What else? For business improvement, anything else? Anything else? Anyone? Come on, think about it. Why would you want a company to do it? Why would want individual to do it? Or why you want a separate entity within the organization to do it? Why can't the company just handle itself in the own normal way of doing things? Now, let's be frank here. Let's be very frank here. Okay. How many of you work for large organizations? Very large organization. You work for a multinational. You work for a listed entity per se. Large organization. Anyone? Raise your hand or just say yep. Okay, Joseph does. Joseph, yep. Right. The rest of you don't. And I think that Chloe, thank you very much. Okay. Anyone else? Right. They go. Yep. Okay. Now, what I'm going to say is this. Right. Previously, Jardin. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. So, like it or not, organizations, large organizations are usually quite slow and chunky. What I mean by quite slow and chunky, they are slow in change, they are slow in adapting, right? Because there's a lot of layers, there's a lot of bureaucracy, and there's a lot of these days corporate governance before you do anything. Okay, it is easier for someone to be working off the side on what we call different types of projects so that they can move faster without all the bureaucracy. And like it or not, right? For most situations today to change, we really need, right, individual to think differently. And sometimes these different thinking, different ways of doing may very much disrupt the current working model of the existing company. Okay, so much so that there may be a lot of resistance toward the new working model. Okay, even though people know they need to shift from one model to the next, even though they need to shift from one product to the next, right, or different type of services needed to be offered, it is very very difficult to do this in a big organization. You will have maybe one person trying to run and make some changes, 2% trying to make changes, 3%, 4%, 5%, but you got hundreds of people opposing that change. It is just like, I'm just using an example, it's just like a bank going digital. You have the customer going, hey, I want to still be able to walk into the branches, right? You got all the branch people saying, hey, I'm a teller here, I want to still have my job 20 years, 30 years from now, no? Right? You get me? But in the world of digital, is the teller really necessary? When we go no, paperless in terms of our currency, right? Do you really need a teller to be counting money for you? Looking at the checks, we are using less checks. We are using less paper. A lot of it is transacted via digital. Do you really need tellers? Do you want a lot of what you call it, branches? Which is why we see, right, the number of people at branches reducing. The number of branches by bank are reducing, right? And this is not just a bank initiative. This is an initiative by many people. Okay, so I'm just explaining this to you. So are we okay here so far? You get me? So one of the key things is not just about improvement. One of the key things is you are looking at a lot of resistance when it comes to new businesses within the organization itself. Within the organization itself. So sometimes some of this initiative I've seen, right, by organization is the people doing this project reports directly to the C level. Why? Because they know some of the GM level, some of the senior managers actually don't want this to succeed. Right? They don't want it to succeed. Why? Simple. Whatever these people are doing are a threat to whatever I'm doing. Okay? Which is why also sometimes they keep it quiet. They keep it quiet. Everyone okay with me so far? Right? I hope you're okay, right? Now, please, this is just a sharing session. It's not to offend, it's not to this thing, but we need to look at things differently these days. Now, what is this? So I'm just going to very quickly go through a few slides, okay? I'm going to talk about what is corporate entrepreneurs. So I've done a little bit of that already. The difference between corporate entrepreneurs and manager, so I'll go to the mindset and develop your strategic thinking or your corporate entrepreneur mindset, okay? Now, happening here, defining entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? It's the following. I'm not going to read it, but a key thing here that you need to understand is this. Most entrepreneurs will need to look into taking the initiative, right? Coming up with a good idea or running with a good idea, right? And they need to be able to take that risk. They need to be able to take that risk and implement whatever that is needed to be implemented. And usually in any environment, like it or not, right, it may have been done before, but all entrepreneurs in a way like to do it something better or something different. Because if there's no difference in whatever they were doing, then what's the point? What's the point? You get me? Because you don't want to go into a price war. What you want is for that something to be unique or different. So let's have a look at and see what are some of the things that can be done. Now, myth about entrepreneurs. Okay, please, if you are an entrepreneur or you are looking at corporate entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs don't necessarily do the things that they like. And this is something out there that to me, it's been said too often. Oh, you need to look for something you like and do it, right? Trust me, most entrepreneurs who have been in the business for some time, it may not be something that we like. However, we are saying there is an opportunity here. We see the opportunity, and we do have technically the resources to work into it. Okay. Now, the reason why I say this, please don't get me wrong. The reason why I say this is because most people who look at entrepreneurship today, my question to you is, are you going to be running this business 5-10 years from now? No, right? Your job is to set up, and you must have an end game, correct? So do you need to be super passionate about it? Not necessarily. If you're passionate, good. If you're not passionate, but you feel that you can do it, you have the ability, the resources, and also the connection to get it done, hey, why not? After all, what, you're going to be running the show the whole entire life, or you're going to let other people run the show after a while? Because that's the difference between an entrepreneur and a business. A medium-sized business. A medium-sized business, you actually allow people to run the show. Okay, you actually get people in. So you start it up, You do what you need to do, get it to a certain platform, get it to a certain level, get other people to run the show. Okay, it's all about digital and technology. No, not necessarily as well. Okay, technology is an enabler, digital is an enabler, coming from a person who has worked with Accenture before. Trust me when I say this, coming from a person who has done MSc status, the thing is an enabler. End of the day, if you're totally changing or doing something because it's digital, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. Okay, investors will come because my idea is great. Let's put it this way, lah. Let's put it this way. Most ideas are diamond dozen. Most ideas are diamond dozen. Okay, I met a very I would say low profile but highly funded VC, right, in Singapore, Singaporean. Okay, and he brought me to his office, and he mentioned to me, Jeremy, right, to me ideas are diamond dozen. What I look for are individuals who can get the job done. And he literally said, oh, okay, you want to see my secret stash? He opened the whole cabinet. He said, take any file here. All these files are original ideas. Why I didn't go with them? Very simple. I checked out the people. I don't think they can do it. I can do the job. Okay, that's why I didn't bother. But I kept the thing is because they gave it to me. Overnight success. Most businesses are not overnight successes. So don't be in a dream, right, that it will be an overnight success. It takes a lot of effort. And guess what? A lot of people need to learn a lot of things along the way. No matter how good you are, there's a lot of things that need to be learned along the way. Innovation is king. Innovation is king, provided you can get it done. Okay, provided you can get it done, right? Just to share with you, when I was working together with Accenture on a particular project, this was 2001, 2002. If you know what Airbnb is like, if you know what Airbnb is like, let's put it this way, lah. Conceptually, we already had Airbnb in 2001, 2002. Okay, the idea was already on the table. The idea was already on the table. We actually had it something like that. I'm not going to explain a bit more, right? But it's something like that. And Airbnb did not really come to fruition until the end of 2010. And the model was working. The model was working. Okay, we managed to get it to work. It was working. Unfortunately, other things happened, so therefore we never launched it. Okay, money is the prime objective. Money is not the prime objective for many entrepreneurs, because why? It's not going to last if it's always about the money. Okay, the money will come when the project is good. Right? The money will come when the business is good. High risk takers. Now that's the problem, right? Please do not think of entrepreneurship as high risk takers. I do not want to work with any entrepreneurs who is always on the high risk game. Right? High risk, high return. No one. Why can't it be low risk, high return? We need to assess our risk. And this is one of the reasons why corporate entrepreneurship is a very good idea, because it lowers down the risk significantly. You already have an existing infrastructure, an existing system that's working. You got your financing team down there, you got your what you call it, your HR team down there, you got your risk assessment, you got people who know processes, you got people who know IT and things like that. This is the best place to work in, actually, so that you can focus your energy on getting that product out rather than focus the energy on running here and there, trying to get other things out. And end of the day, you still need to market it. Okay, you still need to market it, right? And of course, most entrepreneurs I know who are quite successful, they can be very demanding, they can be very pushy, but I don't see them as that power hungry. Okay, what they want is they are passionate about their respective products. So this is something that I'm just sharing, right? So if you want to have an entrepreneur mindset, my suggestion is to look at some of the following things I'm going to be sharing with you, okay? Entrepreneur mindset, because these are the key things that we really need to think about. Now, let's have a look, okay? Corporate entrepreneurship is about, what is it about? Product and service innovation. Right, it's doing something different, so that at the end of the day we have an end product or end service that can be commercialized, and the company goes, yay, I'm super happy with this. Okay, let's because why? It's a new revenue stream, or you are bringing us to a new process or a new market that we never had before. Okay, now as far as I'm concerned, if the person who works there, end of the day, the person who works on this idea don't get a separate entity from it. Okay, I'm a bit reluctant to call it a real corporate entrepreneurship, right? Because I would prefer that this individual has a real stake in this. Why? Because it was originally their idea, right? Or should have been their idea, or could have been their idea, whatever, right? But my thing is, because it needs to make them feel as though, hey, they are part owner, they have a stake in the decision-making process and things like that. But for them to be able to run this entity, that may itself be a different ballgame. Because over the years, I found not everyone is good at managing a business. Some people are very good at starting up businesses. But what their end game is to sell off the business once it gets to a certain size. And then they will start up another business because they get a adrenaline rush doing this kind of stuff, right? But other people are much better at managing the business from year to year to year to year to year. Okay, now the whole purpose of all this corporate entrepreneurship is to create new business entities. It's new business entities. Okay, it is sometimes to even fuel corporate renewal or organizational renewal. Why? Because the existing model is dying. The existing model market share is going down. You need something to create a new market or products and services to come in. Unfortunately, with the existing organization, because of all the infrastructure processes involved, it is unlikely to be able to transform quickly. So you need to have a different entity starting up, building in strength, building in capability, so that it does what it needs to do. Okay, this sometimes what happens is, this is the reason why. I mean, part of the corporate entrepreneurship thing is this. This is why sometimes big organizations totally buy out smaller organizations. Totally buy out smaller organizations. Okay, right? It's part of the whole corporate renewal. But usually these are quite expensive exercises. Okay, usually it's very expensive exercises. And you see in the tech environment, a lot of companies do this very often. Right? They buy out a totally new startup that's been established for 4 to 5 years, right? Showing some growth, showing some technology that they don't have, and they buy it out. Now, whether they're able to sustain or really make that technology work or integrate that technology in, it's a complete different story. Okay, it's a complete different story. I hope they have that certain mindset, whatever people. And usually when they buy out this organization, they like the key people to still be there to make sure the organization move, and they give them shares in the existing organization, right? The big organization. Now, this is how things are moving. Everyone okay with this so far? I hope you're all right. You get me? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Right. Don't be shy. Ask questions, okay? Ask questions, right? I'm good with time at the moment. Everyone okay? If you're okay, just type okay, right? Or thumbs up so that I know, because everyone is in the dark, right? Right. Thanks, Joseph. Okay, please participate, nah? Please participate. Okay. Right. Okay, okay. Right. Yan, thank you very much. Hanli, thank you. Ling, thank you. Okay, Akmanizam. Right. Thank you very much. Right. Please ask the question, Richard. Appreciate it. Okay. Right. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Right. So we got corporate entrepreneurship. Some key differences here, right? I think we should look at some key differences. Not gonna go through everything, but the key thing here is, as I said, all these slides actually with WKU actually, right? So what happens here is, thing down here, the entrepreneur want to focus on opportunities available. They want to focus on opportunities available. So if you want to develop the mindset, develop a mindset of what else can be done, rather than be okay with the existing whatever is available. Identify, keep identifying new things. Okay, new thing. So please have a look at my strategic thinking thing that I spoke about last week. Okay, right? Video, you can catch it. What strategic thinking all about? It's because you need to sometimes understand what is potential in the future. Then we can identify and evaluate whether this, whatever we are doing, actually has a so-called lifespan, okay, or we need to change. They definitely need to innovate. Now, please remember, innovate is not idea. An idea is dime and dozen. To be able to innovate means idea plus action equals innovation. So it needs to value create. What I mean by value create, it needs to create value for the organization. Because you are looking at a big entity, the value creation could be just retention of existing customers or maintaining it. But if you are looking at an entrepreneur external, the entrepreneurs who set up their own stuff, without any other support, then the value creation is all this plus money. Because if you don't have the money, right, to sustain, there is very little chance of being able to sustain. Not every entity can become the next Grab. Let's be honest here. Not every entity, people want to pump the money in, even though you are making losses every single year in the millions. Not very many companies, people want to do this, okay? Right? Wow, Michael says, can small fish eat big fish? Of course, that's the whole purpose. Small fish can always eat big fish. Nothing established can always, and it's been seen, it's been ongoing, and we will see more and more of this, right? I did not show this. I did not show this in my strategic thinking. I was in the strategic planning. Okay, I was facilitating a strategic planning for a very large financial. I need to be very careful with how I say it. With a very large financial related institution that is global. Okay, that's very global. And just so happens when I was doing the second session with them, which was a much bigger group after I'd done it with their core people, and we needed to throw some ideas at the second group of people, mid managers, so that they can conceptualize and work on it a bit more. So it so happened that one of their, I would say this organization, Southeast, Asian head, okay, I use the word Asian head, turned up in KL, right, and wanted to do a 1 hour sort of opening for everybody before we started. And one of the slides that he showed really caught my attention, okay? And what happened was this, okay? He said, and this person, now these guys are huge. These guys are huge, right? Most of us may not know them, but if you're anywhere in the banking industry, you would definitely know how big these guys are and how critical these people are to any bank in the world, okay? Let me put it this way, the agent head can walk into Bank Nagara and meet the, and make an appointment with our governor anytime. Okay, that's how big these guys are. So one thing that caught my attention in one of his slides was he was saying, and he's always saying this. Okay, he says, in our business, being a very traditional business, we know more or less what all the banks are doing. We also know most of what all these central bankers are thinking, whether the American central bank or the European central bank or whoever central bank in the world. We we have access, we have connection thing. Right? These are what we know. And his thing is, what we don't know is that startup from somewhere that came up with an idea that's so revolutionary that can change the total industry, and we don't even know it. What happened? And literally, he had a few names on there. I'm not going to say any of the thing, but when I check those names out, I'm like, man, these people are interesting. Okay, are interesting. Okay, and a few last year in 2020, early 2020, right before the pandemic, I happened to meet up a person who was based in Singapore, Singaporean, right? Interesting thing, right? And here we are in Malaysia talking about digital bank. And there I was meeting up with this person, and he told me, hey, Jared, I asked him, what exactly is your role? What's exactly your job? He said, well, we sell digital banking solution. Then I'm like, what do you mean by digital banking solution? He says, well, basically, if you have a digital bank license, you come to me. I can literally set up the whole digital bank for you very quickly because we have all the solutions already integrated. It's just a matter of cut and paste. And I said, how is this happening? He said, well, we are an European company. We've been doing this for the past few years. We know exactly, and we sell basically the whole entire back end for you. All you need to do is get the license from your respective from your respective company. So, hey, imagine you got a whole banking solution behind you once you got your license. It's big. small fish eat big fish. That's what I mean. Small fish eat big fish. There, the big organizations are trying to integrate their dinosaurs. Okay, these people already got everything done, right? And you can be up and running very quickly compared to trying to change your dinosaurs, right? The reason why I use the word dinosaurs here is because it reminded me of another entity that I worked with a little while. I mean, I didn't work with them, I was consulting some work with them. This small company, not small, it means small, he got like 200 programmers down there. All his programmers do down there is they program on COBOL. I asked, who in the world uses COBOL? He said, the banks. I said, what? He said, yeah, they're still using a lot of COBOL. So, and no one programs on COBOL, but they still have these dinosaur systems. So my job is to maintain this dinosaur system for them. And guess what? Competition is technically zilch, and I get most of the job. Interesting. Okay, but this is diverging a little bit now. Now, key differences. Okay, so just to let you know, please make sure innovation is very critical, right? Innovation, coming a new idea. Can the big fish eat the small fish, or can the small fish eat the big fish? Most definitely. Why not? Why not? Okay. Now, that's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose, right? As I mentioned, the transfer of money today, right? It's a very big deal. It's a very big deal. And it probably some of the other stuff I know, they are making, these telcos are making money not just because you subscribe with them, but because of all the services that you use, all the games that you're playing, right? That's what they want. Now, how do you become more corporate entrepreneurial in terms of your mindset, right? I've got something called focus. Okay, so I'm just using acronym called focus. This is something that's jointly developed, and what happened down there is we call it flexi adaptable, outcome based, communicate, understand results every single day, right? Sales and service, we need to look into that, right? What we mean by be customer service orientated, right? And also 4 E's, and last but not least, discipline. So these are the last few slides I want to share, right? For more, you really need to come for the program, right? So I cannot be doing everything, right? Now, need environment that enable this, definitely, right? Joseph says need environment that enable this, and I see more and more companies doing it. Okay, Joseph, which industry are you from? Don't mind me asking. Which industry are you from? Agriculture. Okay, right? Agriculture, big startup. Yep. Well, you need to think about it. I've not heard much from agriculture, because agriculture is one of those industries that what do you call it? Doing, it has its own time frame. Every single industry has its own time frame, right? It's getting digital, definitely getting digital. And I think a lot of us have been farming. I also farming a bit, but ultimately found out I'm not much of a farmer. I can eat, okay, I can makan, but farming no. One thing that is these days, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. I won't mention names again, right? I have a lot of the banks have been approaching us on programs related to corporate entrepreneurship. A lot of banks have been coming to us on programs related to corporate entrepreneurship. Okay, I did a very comprehensive one in the end of early 2020, before the pandemic hit. What we did down there was we ran the program, and we even took them to site visits to entrepreneurs that I thought of, did something with. So I know these people, right? I actually took them and let them visit these entrepreneurs, okay, and talk to these entrepreneurs and on various different things. I'm not going to go into the details of that. So that is what the whole program was about, because they needed the people in the bank to start thinking differently, because they know they are being so-called attacked on many levels. What do I mean? You've got peer-to-peer lending coming in. You've got people who are pushing Bitcoin like anything, like the new, that this is the new thing. So, all this stuff, right? You got people who are, who are doing very different models, integrating it. There's so many new investment out there in the market, right? And they are traditionally, thing is getting eroded. So yes, they're still making a lot of money, but they also understand that a lot of opportunities are abound and they cannot just do what they have been doing. Right? So that's why they need their people to think in a different way, and hopefully other things will start along. And if you look at some of these banks, in case you do not know, some of these banks within the organization itself, right, actually have innovation departments and stuff, and they run this kind of thing so that they get to see what's out there in the market, so that they can tie up with people in the market, or internally they build something. Okay, they are building something. Now, whether it really becomes a separate entity by itself, that one I cannot confirm or disconfirm, but I know some of the banks actually have them because I've spoken to these people previously. Okay, now, and this is happening. What do I mean by being flexi adaptable? Okay, basically, if you want to become a corporate entrepreneur, it will be up and down. It will be up and down. Life is going to go up, life is going to go down, right? My main thing is it going up as a whole? If it's going up as a whole, okay lah, right? Life is supposed to be up and down, ma. So, if you want to become a corporate entrepreneur, please have grit, be resilient, and practice agile. Okay? Have grit, what do you mean? Don't give up. Be resilient. When you fall, get back up again. Practice agile is exactly what flexi adaptable means. Okay? Be flexible, be adaptable, right? As long as you are getting results, new results every single day, it's okay, right? Be flexible, be adaptable. Because why? We cannot have a fixed mindset when you want to practice corporate entrepreneurship. Okay? So please, key thing here, in corporate entrepreneurship, it's very, very important to have an outcome or outcome. What do I mean by an outcome, right? End of the day, even for entrepreneurs, I always tell them, you must have an outcome. Whether your outcome stays the same or your outcome changes, you still need to have an outcome. Okay, right? So don't fall in love with your entity. Don't fall in love with your entity. Okay, right? So you need to figure out how are you going to exit, right? How many? What are you listing it? What's the commercialization? Are you gonna commercialize it, leave, or are you just gonna sell at a certain point of time and things like that, right? To be very clear what the end. Pandemic session, many big company chain store close shop, right? Chain store close shop. Well, let's put it this way, lah. The retail industry for years now had been going through a what call it? It was ripe lah, and it just so happened the pandemic hit. Okay, because there are so many ways of changing, and you look at one of the slides I showed last week or the week before, right? This is a Deloitte digital assessment. Retail will be very fast and very high impact in terms of change. Retail is one of those industries that are ripe, and this piece was printed out in 2015. They already said at that point in time, retail was ripe for change. Okay, so it's not surprising that a lot of things happen. Not so because, the pandemic accelerated it, but it was already the industry that was ripe for change, because you could see it for many, many years ago, when all the big chain store, like all the Walmart and things started, wasn't the big boy anymore. They were being eroded by certain things. Okay, so this is already happening. But coming back to this, please remember outcome. Know the outcome. So even if you're working for an entity, know the outcome. And my thing is, sometimes the outcome is, when do you think and feel your ability ends? Okay. The great thing about being a corporate entrepreneur in a bigger organization is there are other people there. There are other people whom you can rely resources on. If you are a one-person show starting out your business, I always say this, right? You are you and only you. Okay, there's no one else. But in a big organization, if you feel that at a certain point of time, okay, man, this is where my ability ends, this is where my thing ends, right? This is my exit point. It's okay, great, the business survives, right? You get to choose to do something else rather than stuck. rather than get stuck. Because if you are an entrepreneur and you can't sell because no one wants it, you can't do anything, you are stuck. Okay, you are miserable for the rest of your life. Right? If the company becomes successful, you're miserable. Company not successful, you're also miserable. So that's the thing with entrepreneurship. Okay, that's why I always say, if you can work as a corporate entrepreneur, it's actually a good idea. Right? And this is coming from an entrepreneur myself. Right? Of course, there's other issues, but it's conceptually the risk is significantly less. Now, please learn to communicate. I cannot emphasize this enough. As an entrepreneur, communicate, communicate, communicate. You can never stop communicating enough, right? And this is something that you need to do. Other things that you need to look into is results. Results, huh? Right? When I mean communicate, both internal and external, huh? In case I missed that out. Now, have a scoreboard. Know your score every single time. So you call it KPI, you call it performance management, please do that. Okay, know your score, know what you're measuring yourself against, right? Because you need to push yourself. There's no one else. Even if you're talking about corporate entrepreneurship, okay, you need to push yourself. If you're an entrepreneur, lagi more, you need to push yourself. If you're a corporate entrepreneur, at least there's a group of people pushing, like it or not, the CEO for the existing time will do say, hey, I'm the group CEO, what's happening there? What's happening there? What's happening there? Because he knows the organization benefits when you bring benefit in, when you can commercialize that idea. Right? Not all ideas are easy to commercialize. Let's be frank here. Many ideas actually, we start doing it, we start, and then somehow or other it sits out or it just dies. So to practice corporate entrepreneurship, you really need to be pushing. You need to do your grit, your resilience, and of course your agility. Okay. Now for this scoreboard, please ask yourself, okay, the 5W and 1H, why it need to be there, when it need to be in, because different point of time in the business growth, you will need a different scoreboard. You will need a different scoreboard. Okay. Why? Because you're measuring different things. Now, something that I emphasize a lot in any corporate entrepreneur, right? Even before you start, know your existing business. That means know how the current businesses are working. Now, I'm just going to go with two examples here. One, if you're starting out, example, a lot of people tell me they want to start restaurant business. Okay, I say, great, fine. All right, for a person who has done that business, seen that business, I ask them very simple. Do you know how the front end works? Do you know how the back end works? You don't know how the front end works, you don't know how back end works. You're going to rely on someone. Okay, right? Be ready to lose money in the front and in the back. Right? It is a cash business. It's a business that you better know how the front end works. That means how the serving and everything works, where the sale is happening. And don't forget, your back end. Your back end is the kitchen. The kitchen will be your major headaches. Trust me. You think the getting customer is one, your kitchen is the other big major headache, and you can lose money very quickly in the kitchen one. Okay, so this is what I mean. Understand how the existing business works. Whether you're in or you're an entrepreneur, that means you're going out doing yourself, or you're a corporate entrepreneur. Understand your existing business. But from the raw mat all the way to the manufacturing part or the service part, this thing, all the way to the whole logistical chain. Understand the whole business so that you know the integrated whole. Now, I'm not asking you to be the expert in all areas. I'm saying understand as much of the process as possible. Why? So that when you come up with the new idea, you know which part is critical and which part is not, which part can help you, which part will not, and also you probably know where the potentials are and the resistance are whenever you introduce something. Okay, because one of the key things is you don't want to introduce it in the wrong place within the organization. If you happen to do that, I'm saying sorry, you are likely to face a lot of resistance. You're likely to face a lot of resistance. Okay, so understand the whole entire structure of your existing organization. Now, that will also allow you to see opportunities and threats. Opportunities and threats. I have, over the years, I've sat in quite a few, where we assess business, right? Internally and externally. And externally, when I do it, it's like, entrepreneurs come in and they do some pitching. Sometimes I scratch my head and I ask them, have you ever done a competitor analysis on this? Why? Very simple. Whatever you propose is not new. So please don't beat yourself up and say that, it's something fantastic. It's not new. It is not new. Okay? Nothing is new here. It's just a great idea. Unfortunately, you have not actually gone out and see what other people are doing because they already have this in their concept. Internally, when we have set on this, I've also asked similar questions, right? Okay, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this. So, which do you know of anybody in this, organization that does something similar? And the person will say, no, I don't. I don't think anyone does anything similar, right? Then we are like, you can see the board looking at it and going, no, you got it wrong. We've got people who are already working on this. You get me? So again, please know the integrated whole, how it works. Okay, it's very good. Unless whatever you're introducing, like example, the whole entire telco is to keep the network up and to keep the data moving. And this guy comes up and go, hey, let's have a payment system whereby we can transfer money from A to B. And everyone goes, okay, that's new. Then it's thing. But then also by knowing the integrated whole, you ask yourself, who can help you? Okay, because the more backers you have, the easier it is to move the idea, the faster to commercialization you can get. So know the integrated whole. Now, and like it or not, why I say sales and service, end of the day, you need to commercialize it. Okay, may not be your cup of tea, but definitely if you are the corporate entrepreneur within your organization doing this particular thing, you better understand how you're going to commercialize it by sales and service. Now, another thing, okay, this is the last 2 or 3 slides, right? Very quick one. I'm just going to go through this. Some of you have been to my session before know that I like this whole idea of the 4 E's. This 4 E's is actually by Jack Welch. I find it very interesting that he came up with this, and it's Jack Welch, former GE, General Electric. Not former GE CEO. GE is still there. Okay. Energy, energize, edge, and execute. He always says practice the 4 E's, practice the 4 E's. To be a better leader, to be a better person, practice the 4 E's. What does it mean? As a corporate entrepreneur, please learn to become the energizer bunny. You are your own energizer bunny. Don't expect to be motivated because no one is going to be motivating you because you are supposed to be the entrepreneur. So figure out what will make you become the energizer bunny for yourself. Then the other thing is, like it or not, you need to energize others around you. You can have the best idea available, best concept available. However, if you cannot even energize one person with the idea, you are wasting time. You need to develop the skill set to energize the people so that the people go, oh, fantastic idea, and it's something that we want to work on. Okay, so please learn to energize other people. Okay, now, third thing, edge. What do I mean by the edge? Edge is something edge is something that we need to do. Okay, it's about making that difficult decision. Making that difficult decision. If you want to become an entrepreneur, right, and even if you work within the corporate entrepreneur environment, whatever you launch will affect someone else. Whatever you launch will affect someone else within the organization. Be prepared for that. Be prepared to defend your decisions. Be prepared to move. Be prepared that someone will be very pissed off with you. This thing. I serve as the project, how do I put it? I serve as the project manager internally, changing a lot of processes in an organization. This was about just after I left so-called accountancy, right? I was hired by a entity, listed entity, to look into streamlining a lot of the processes that they have. Okay, trust me. Even at that time, a lot of people didn't want to give me information. did not want to give me information, even though I reported directly to the ED and also the MD. I was a manager, right, who reported directly to the ED and the MD. Okay, right. I bypassed everyone else straight to them, and a lot of people within the organization, the GM, the whatever, did not like me, right? And that is how I built my edge. Right? I work with a very small team because they know when I turn up in their department, they know when I turn up at their business unit, it means that something is going to happen. And that's the reason why they don't like me. Good thing was, 2-3 years before that, I was working as an internal auditor for a large conglomerate in Malaysia also. And so happened that I learned to be very thick-skinned and thick-faced down there. Because in this particular conglomerate, the way we do our internal audit, you are given 1 day's notice. Or none at all if we feel that there's no need to. We just turn up and we go, hi, we are here. Who are you? Internal audit. And here's the letter, we are auditing you, right, for the next 2 weeks. And that's what happens. Okay. So edge, learn to make the very difficult decisions. And last but not least, implementation. That's what they mean by the word execute. Implement. Okay. You cannot stop implementing something. It's your initiative. Let's put it, it's your initiative. You need to get it done. And trust me, this 4 skill is a lifetime of learning and doing. You can never get enough of this. This 4 skill is a lifetime of learning and doing. Now, example, all of us have become, in terms of edge, most business owners who went through the pandemic, I'm quite sure their edge is a lot sharper. The edge is a lot sharper. Okay, so be prepared for a sharper edge. Okay, now, last but not least, okay, last but not least, this is the final one. Focus, as I mentioned, right? Discipline, right? You need to figure out your discipline. You need to figure out how you need to do what you need to do. Discipline, right? Have your own timetable, have your own deadline, have your own listing to do what needs to be done. If not you, as I mentioned, then who? So if you want to develop a corporate entrepreneur mindset, these are the things that you need to put in practice every single day. Other people ask me, oh, what about the business itself? What about the business itself? Right? Go and look at my strategic thinking thing that I talked about last week. Okay, have a look at it. Have a look at it. You probably may see a few ideas from there that will hopefully benefit you. Okay, that will hopefully benefit you in terms of what can we do to get new business ideas. Right? Strategic thinking is the first thing that you look into. There's actually a lot of opportunities available out there. As corporate entrepreneurs, every single, I would say most industries are ripe for change. Now, even agriculture industry is ripe for a change, is ripe for certain changes, right? Because we know with the latest in aquaponics and things like that, and all the, wanting less, less pesticide being used, we can actually plant with less water and less space. We can actually plant with less water and less space, right? Some of these big big entities in other parts of the world are starting to do this a lot. It's just that in Malaysia, we are still starting. We have not seen anything really big and major, but I do know certain people are very interested in setting up all these, plants. But my thing is, it needs to have certain scale for it to work. It needs to have certain scale for it to work. Then a building can be planting a lot. Now, and it's good. It's a good thing. Why? Because over the next few years, we may see a lot of shop lots not necessarily being needed. Okay, and you can definitely plant in these shop lots. Because why? You are not going to rely on the sun, because the sun is only out there like 8 hours, 9 hours a day, right? You need something, right? Okay, 10 hours. You need something that can be customized to the needs of the plant, so that you can get more yield and it grows faster, right? And all these are science getting involved. So that is something that you can look into. Agriculture, right? There is a huge opportunity there, right? And I know a lot of people are also doing different things when it comes to planting these days, in terms of raising capital, raising funds, and things like that. So Right, that's my sharing. That's my sharing. If you've got any questions, please do ask. But before you ask, just let me, do a little bit of marketing first. First and foremost, as I said, all these slides are taken from the Certified Business Masterclass program. It's also taken from the Certified Performance Manager program. What's the difference between the two? The Business Masterclass program is on, well, if you're interested in setting up a business or you're interested to know more about business per se. And generally, always remember, the higher up you go in the organization, the more business oriented you need to be. Okay, you don't believe me, you go and look at the leadership pipeline, and they say ultimately at the top you are managing a business, you are leading a business, you need to understand how business works. Okay, again, financial literacy, right? The numbers behind, okay, what it means and things like that, and of course the strategic awareness needs to be there. Right? Managers are operational. Senior managers to the C level are future looking, or rather more GM and C levels are future looking. That's why the time frame that they talk about is 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Okay, whereby the operational person is always talking what's happening today, what we need to achieve today, that's the difference. Okay, Certified Performance Manager is about managing and leading teams. It's about developing the team. Next week, I'm going to talk about development of the people, right? The 3 key, right? So that's something I'll talk about. And I just want to emphasize to you, these are workshops that we will be doing very, very soon. So if you're interested, get Chloe to give you some information. If you can't make it this date, we will definitely be running another session, right? Towards the end of the, I would say towards the end of the year again. Okay. Now,